Alright, so a really common thing that I hear is that you can go faster in LU really easily, rather than by doing this, your classic run forward jumping. Instead, go like this and you get significantly more speed. This isn't true. There's a really good reason why it seems true. So, and it's the same reason. Look at how much more slowly I appear to be going right now than when I go like this. It's all to do with camera positioning. It's to do with camera positioning and the amount of the screen which is moving at any particular point in time, or more importantly, how fast the parts of the screen you are focusing most on are moving. And it's kind of, I'm fairly certain perception of speed is largely weighted based on that. It's the same reason that like going in Quake Pro in Minecraft makes you feel like you're moving faster, and why changing FOV in general can affect your perception of speed. Because when you go to higher FOV, you're able to see more of the sides. To use another analogy, it's the same reason when you're driving a car that you appear to be moving faster if you look out the sides and you see things flashing by, whereas obviously things aren't moving that quickly when you're looking forwards, because then you wouldn't be able to react fast enough to drive. So anyway, I'm just going to do some demonstrations of these. These are going to be rough, but they should be good enough. So I'm going to wait until this gets to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, more or less. And now I'm just going to move fairly optimally. I can't guarantee this will be perfectly optimal, but it should be fairly good. No Quicksicle being used. First test. The reason why I'm jumping is because jumping does change your speed. It is faster to run and jump at the same time. Again, this is something that I think most people are somewhat aware of, but yeah, this has been... all of this stuff has been tested quite a few times, which is why I'm going into this video already confident of the conclusion and already stating the conclusion, rather than being a little bit more cautious. It's because we've tested this quite a bit. But yeah, I guess I can also demonstrate what happens if I don't double jump. And you'll just find it takes significantly longer. The reason why that is it's related to friction values in LU and how the character accelerates. But yeah, so basically, in the past, I did brief tests of this, or specifically of the moving sideways thing. I did some brief tests of this, just enough to convince myself, because we found some basically values in the client, and it was like, wait a second, maybe these could suggest that actually this isn't placebo and that you do actually move faster. And so I took a look at those. And so I was taking a look at this to look at those. And there we are. That was about 5 minutes. So that was 1 minute. I'll just get a document for this. So that was 3 minutes 30 to 5 minutes and 5 seconds. So that is a 1 minute 35, more or less. And I've heard lots of different values given for walking sideways. Let me just line myself up fairly nicely. I've heard lots of different speeds being given for this. The one which inspired this video was someone saying you move about double the speed, so we should definitely be able to see this if that is in fact the case. So I'm going to wait until 6 minutes and we'll see how fast we go. Again, this isn't perfect. This has been tested in more detail by someone who was actually trying to prove the opposite. Someone who was trying to prove to me that going sideways was faster. They tested this using, again, out of bounds, just because you get flat terrain, and using an auto clicker. And they also got the same result. I don't like doing this because I am doing this like in a single take and everything, and you can see like it does look faster, doesn't it? So I'm trusting in past Ninja. Oops, and okay, that's not great. My timing's apparently a little bit more shots like this, but again, the reason why I'm doing this over such a long distance is so that small mistakes I make won't make too much of a difference, hopefully. But I feel like I'm doing this worse, but I also am fairly certain if you were to look at that previous run I did, you'd see that I actually did mess up quite a few times on jumps on that previous run, but it's just less noticeable because, again, you have this effect where you're staring at parts of the screen which are the movement of which is solely dependent on my current movement. Okay, so we already should have been there had we been moving at double the speed, I think. I started at 6 minutes, and we're coming up to the no different... Well, so yeah, currently this suggests it definitely is not double speed, and we're coming up to there probably isn't much of a difference at all. Nearing what should be roughly equivalent. There we are. So I was actually Why did the timer just stop then? Anyway, yeah. So I was actually slightly more efficient in this run. But the difference there was like... That was 1 minute 32 compared to 1 minute 35. That can easily come down to like precisely how efficient I was being on those jumps. So, okay, so I guess we should also do so. No real difference observed in those, and it's not like I was taking a more efficient route or a less efficient route one way than the other way, because we were literally just going in a straight line. I had some deviation from the side there, but very, very, very little compared to the total length I was travelling, so that would not have a huge impact. So anyway, let's go down, and let's now just do exactly the same thing, but just running straight. Again, wait a second, I need to actually have a start time for this, otherwise I'm just running straight and that doesn't give you any information. But yeah, there you are. So just quick demonstration that you don't go any faster. So I'm then also going to try this with speed boosts. I'm then going to try it with the speed boost stacked with the Adventurer speed boost. There are going to be some slight issues because we don't have 100% uptime, but that's fine. Because as long as I just guarantee I reapply it at the same point each time, then we should be good. So just going normally. And I guess technically I should also do one run that is just that's single jumping the whole way. So yeah, so we started this one at 9 minutes, and yeah. But yeah, so the place that... sorry, and I should say, this sounds like I'm like having a go at someone for suggesting something. I'm not. I'm genuinely... So this came up. I'm making this video because someone earlier today mentioned this to me, and that they were going faster like this, and I was like, we test this. This isn't the case. But I also realised I've never actually made like a neat thing to just demonstrate to people like what is faster and what isn't faster. Is it going to turn out that jumping isn't any faster? Have I been wrong about this the whole time? If we make it there within the next 30 seconds, we'll have demonstrated that I was actually wrong. I swear I've tested that in a fair amount of detail. But it's looking like I may well have been wrong. No, well, okay. So no, there is a slowdown. It's not too much. But yeah, so I should say I'm like I'd far prefer that I hear about things people think might give you extra speed and stuff like that than I never hear about them. And this person was really helpful. They also described to me exactly the scenario in which they did it. So I'm going to do these basic demonstrations, but these don't actually disprove the effect this person talked about. I have no idea. I've never actually done the exact test they did. So we're going to find out. I'm going to go and do that later, see what happens. Yeah, get information out about that. See whether it's faster or slower. Okay, so here we are. We've just hit the 2-minute mark. So it turns out my depth perception in LU is just really, really shot. And here we are. So that was, yeah. That was 2 minutes, 10 seconds, I believe. And let's just do a comparison. So the previous runs were about 90 seconds, so they were a little bit over 90. So let's say 95 for 1 and 210, 130 by 95. So it's about 30%, it's 37% faster, roughly. Sorry, it's about 37% slower to go without jumping. And I guess to demonstrate single jumping, let's wait until we get to 12 minutes and then start again. I should also say, I did not... This may seem like this was something somewhat well planned, and that, like, I'm doing this in survival because... Oh, oops. And I'm doing this in survival because, you know, I'd have this timer up. Nope, that was... Sorry. Okay, so there are going to be some mistakes in this, but you know what? As long as the vast majority of my jumps are single jumps, you could, if you really wanted to, do the maths and work out what proportion of the time was skewed by the double jumps. And as long as the vast majority of my jumps are single jumps, then we've done a pretty good job of estimating this, I'd say. Like, if I do, what's this? So that's slightly more than 1 jump per second. If I'm doing slightly more than 1 jump a second, I've now done 4 double jumps by accident. And I started at, what, 12 minutes for this? So you can see we're basically at the same time. Maybe a little bit slower, but whilst this was a slow result, it's not slower to within experimental error. Really. I would not expect... I'd expect if I did this again to have an error on the order of a couple of seconds. So, more or less, I'd say that's the same length of time. That was about a 138. 137. So, yeah. No significant difference. So, I guess the next thing we want to do... want to test this with speed boosts. Again, this is all applying to a particular arena, as it were, that I've picked, because it's very, very controlled, very, very flat ground, stuff like that. We'll see what differences are made when we actually go and test this in survival. So yeah, so let's make sure I do start both of these at the same time. Okay, so yeah, yeah, so this was not planned to be in survival, just happened this character was in here. But it's also very helpful because survival was the place that the most recent hey you go faster when going sideways came from. And so if I actually want to look into that particular claim in detail, then I should go to survival. I'm skeptical, but you know, maybe. Like, the thing is, whilst I'm skeptical, I would also love it if someone had found, like, a way that actually going sideways does make you go faster. Like, okay, I'd be a little bit disappointed I hadn't found it, but I'd still be pretty happy that it had been found. What time did I start this at? I started this at, what, 14:30, I think. Ooh, just slight, expect there. So that wasn't anywhere near as fast as I expected. That was what, like... Oh, I guess 110 actually is pretty fast. But let's just give this a second go. Because I also need to get some idea of my, of the deviation in between my separate results. If I want these to actually have value. So let's do this again. I'm not going to do this on all my runs because I would expect the variance to scale with the length of the run. And this also means that if I did just completely forget what time I started at last time, then get a little bit more information. So I could be doing this more efficiently. So what I could be doing is I could be using Quicksicles and a Daredevil boost, or I could be hot swapping between my Batlord helmet and some equipment giving me the Daredevil boost. Could be doing that, but again, I mean, if you really wanted to do the maths on this, like, it's the downtime is like a quarter of this, so you'll have a quarter done at my standard double jump running speed, which we've already calculated, and then 3/4 done at this increased speed due to the speed boost. And here we are. So yeah, that was about 08, I think, but more or less demonstrates the point. So next up, we need to go sideways, and we need to do the same test there. We'll begin from 1730. And again, remember, I will make small mistakes, just because I'm not perfect. I could have hooked this up to an auto hotkey script or done something like that, but realistically, like, this is, as long as you can kind of see, and I now have shown that the variance between my results is pretty much like on the order of seconds. If we were going like double the speed, then we would have seen it. So what I can really say is I can place a bound based on my results. I can say, okay, given that I would expect to be varying by about 3 seconds maximum, then okay, I can work out what the maximum speed up you could be getting due to running sideways is. And I would say that, oh, that was close, but yeah, that was about 106. So in both of those instances, in fairness, we have actually had a slight speed up by running partially sideways. It's just been very, very slight. I'm not convinced that that's not due. That's not just random error, because I've only had 2 runs where we're directly comparing those two, and for both of them to be slightly faster, that could still be random error. So I guess, should we do it again? Well, actually, no. Let's first off... Oh, that's going to be a little bit annoying. Okay, so we're going to see more random error here. Actually, no, this will go throughout the whole uptime, because it's a 3-minute duration. So let's go. So this was the thing that I did not believe was possible until recently. And I was very confidently being like, no, you can't stack speed boosts, because I had tested. And someone was like, no, you really can. Or at the very least, you can stack the Adventurer speed boost. Might as well just do that to keep it up in case anyone's worried it doesn't actually do anything, but that just lets you see, I guess, that it doesn't do anything. And that was what I started at 30 seconds on the other side, 1930. Oops, I didn't go as quickly as I could have done there, but I think you get a good sense that, yeah, this definitely is faster. That was about 50 seconds. So, yeah. That was 50 seconds with the double speed boost. And yeah, so the reason why this makes you go faster is actually a little bit subtle and comes down to how the skills are actually implemented. So it turns out, so basically, yeah, the Adventurer cap is designed to like work on lots of players, etc. By saying, did I actually take a note of the start time? I'm not confident I actually started at particular time. I might have started at 2030, but I don't think I was... But I definitely wasn't paying attention. So let's do this. But yeah, so basically the Adventurer hat applies this as a buff, whereas everything else changes your walk speed. The Adventurer hat applies as a buff because the idea is you're buffing teammates, but that actually uses a different system to changing your walk speed. And because it uses a different system to changing your walk speed, the two can be overlapped. Whereas if you're looking, for instance, if you're looking at virtually any other item in the game, which gives you a speed boost, then they can't be overlapped. So, for instance, the classic example would be like your Daredevil Fig on Fire attack, for instance. That does not stack with... That does not stack with a Quicksicle-based speed boost, because the two are both implemented in the same way, and they just overwrite your current walk speed. Okay, that was what? About 49 seconds? There we are. So that's more or less everything I wanted to get tested and demonstrate. I'm going to, I think, do... Let's do one back down with a just normal speed boost, and one back going diagonally with another speed boost, just to like... Oh no, we've got to wait a little bit. Just to put to rest like the concern that, you know, that I haven't really done any significant testing of errors for this. Because it's fair, I haven't, and if someone were presenting me with this data, I would call them out on that. So that's very fair. If someone were to complain about that, so I'm going to do a little bit to get errors. Again, these are not necessarily there are a couple of different places you could get errors. The primary source of error here is just going to be my run. But it is worth noting that... yeah, so it is worth noting there is actually one other effect, which could be meaning that actually... You know what, I might as well just do one run along with one run back with a full speed boost, because I don't expect the variance to increase significantly, or to change significantly, when I move to and from diagonal camera. But yeah, so the suggestion was that somehow in Vanguard and Survival, you can get further away from enemies by... Wait a second. Well, okay, I accidentally tested something other than what I was attempting to test. But okay, that's good. That tells me that 50 seconds is repeatable. I completely forgot that, of course, I still have the buff from the Adventurer hat. Actually, no, I'm going to leave this light. There's no reason not to. So, okay, I might as well just do one more test with this. This gets me a slightly worse estimation of my variance, but it's not terrible. But yeah, just again, to show you how a camera angle could change how fast something goes. I see that as going a lot faster than I, for instance, see this. Just because, again, your focus is changed. There we are. So that one came in at 49 seconds, which is which is similar to that. Well, which is exactly the same as that I achieved going diagonally. That doesn't mean that there is no difference, because I did 3 runs on one. You would expect to see... You would expect, with any finite variance, that I would get better results on the one I did more runs on. Or my best result would be better on the one I did more runs on than the one I did fewer runs on. So, that doesn't actually... I want to be as fair as possible for this. And I have to admit, therefore, that that doesn't actually mean anything in and of itself. Anyway, now I'm buffed, so I should be safe from anything. Now let's give Avant-Garde Survival a whirl. Got to actually get back inbounds. Had I not fallen a second ago, it would have been a little bit easier, but... Get back inbounds like this. Okay, so the very precise report that I got was that... Sorry, that sounded sarcastic. That's not sarcastic. The report I had was basically, okay, I can get further away from enemies when running diagonally than running any other way. I don't know how easily I can measure this. I note that I normally do play Avant-Garde and Survival running diagonally. And that's just because it gives me like a better view of everything that's going on. Yeah, I don't know how you'd even begin to... Well, I know how you'd begin to quantify it, but it's hard to... It's hard for me to see because, like, in order to see how far behind everything is, I'd have to turn my camera to do that. I mean, I guess I can measure roughly where everything lags in, like lagging behind gets clumped up. But that's really imprecise because it really depends on the cycles of everything that's chasing me. But yeah, okay, and now I'm just gonna try. So let's just see if we observe any difference in the distribution of enemies. Again, I would not expect to observe any. Because, you know, we've just tested and we know we don't actually go at any different speeds. But it could be that for whatever reason, this, with a different camera angle, I don't know, we send things to the server slightly differently or whatever. Or it could simply be that by running like this, we have slightly different timings and therefore get slightly different results. The issue is, realistically, I find it really hard. I don't know how you would measure reliably the distance to and from enemies. Like, to me, it doesn't look like there's much of one, but that's largely because I'm going off of the position of the strongly mechs. And the position of the strongly mechs, the way their AI works, they are going to... Okay, I think we just ran out of speed boost. So, or ran out of adventurer speed boost. So this would be the most accurate I could possibly make this test to the report I was given. I should also be very, very clear. I did think for months that it was faster to go sideways. Or at least I thought that there was a very good chance that it might be. I'm not in any way poo-pooing anyone who thinks that it might be. Ow. Because, like, it's... Yeah, I definitely thought that it was. Oh, okay, now I know how I can do this. Sorry. Easiest way. So let's get this back up. Okay, let's go. Go here. Took about 1 second for them to reach me. Let's go around again and test it again. I didn't test it very well there. Didn't feel like I actually got any sense of time. Okay, so there it took about 2 seconds between me stopping and me getting hit. Now I can't use it because I've just run out of speed boost. And so that'll be an unfair test. Stop. Okay, that was a little bit unfair because I got pushed, but again, that was around 2 seconds. So we're getting some time in between 1 and 2 seconds. The issue is that the margin for error on that is freaking huge. Yeah, okay, so that was about 1 second. Which means I've got, like, a fractional error of, like, 1. Which is not great. But I guess we shouldn't expect to, if I'm going forwards then, well, we might hope that we might see something different. That was, again, about, they didn't catch up because I ran into the Maelstrom, but, and got pushed away by it, but that was roughly 1 second to catch up, I'd say. Yeah, so that was about 1.5 seconds. That was pretty similar. Same again. Gives that again. I don't know. I'm finding it kind of hard to measure, like, exactly when I stop. I guess I could. Actually, if I wanted to be more accurate, could do that. But yeah, honestly, maybe someone wants to look back at this and maybe they can extract more useful stuff from this than I can. I'm not. I'm finding this really, really hard to reliably measure. But yeah, it seems to be about 1 to 2 seconds. So one final time. It won't be this time, because we just ran out of speed boost. Yeah, so, alright, I'm gonna call it here for this one. I hope these demonstrations, like, work for people. If you think there's a factor I've overlooked, let me know. I've tried... in making this, I did try to be as, like, careful as I could to try and account for all of the obvious, like, conflicting factors I could come up with. Because, like, I don't know, it'd be really easy to make this video and just, like, not give the other side a fair hearing. I think I've tried to do that as much as I possibly could. But yeah, I think this, for at least for me, the results are fairly convincing. So let's just... I haven't actually labelled most of these, but yes, okay, so we had 95 seconds initially. Just running straight across, we had 95 seconds. Running tilted, we had 92 seconds. We then had just running, no double jumping. We had 130 seconds. Running single jumping repeatedly, we had 97 seconds. What was that? Running with single speed boost, we had 68, and going straight forwards, we had 68 seconds. Running with single speed boost, and going at an angle, we had 66 seconds. Then, finally, we had 50, 50, 49 over 3 attempts with the double speed boost, and then 49 without. So, yeah. You could look at those, and in general, or over the course of those, the sideways ones were slightly better. That could be because of how going sideways changes my timing. The thing is, there are lots of conflicting factors that could give a rise to about a second. So it could be that it is about a second. It is about a second faster over this length. It could also just be that my timing is like the variance has decreased very slightly. And it's kind of hard to tell the difference between, like, this test can't tell the difference between, like, if you're considering my variance, in how well I perform. But let's just... What am I saying? That's annoying. Didn't check the start time, and we just passed a minute barrier, which would have been great to measure from. Just going to start that up again. Probably don't need to, but okay. And we're going to wait until... 30 seconds, and then we are going to go. I'd also say that, like, even the time it takes me to press buttons at the start, or to, like, start from that 1 second mark, could well be... Oh no, this is annoying. Oh no, this is really, really annoying. My nose is suddenly incredibly itchy, but I need both hands to do this. This is for you guys. This is for the science. Oh, this is really, really quite uncomfortable. Oh, that was suddenly incredibly. My eyes are watering there. Yeah, so that looked like 49.5, something like that. Ooh, that was not fun. Okay, let's do that one more time. And I didn't start with a timer. Yeah, so that was 49.50. I'd say 49 if I'm being fair to it. So it could be that there is a very, very slight... The results today could suggest there is a very, very slight speed boost. It can't say that there is, but there is the possibility that it might be there. And I might as well give it that, because, I mean, I'd love it if there were a slight speed boost. There was some stuff in the client that made me think there could be a slight speed boost. There are ways I could test this in more detail. So, for instance, I could set the strafe speed to 0. With a better client modding, I could do that. And I could rerun these tests with the strafe speed set to 0, and we could see how much difference I got. I shouldn't have done that if I wanted to get back in bounds. And had I been a little bit faster, I could have made it back in bounds, I think. But anyway, that was about 50 seconds. So, yeah, to put that into perspective, we had 49 seconds, 49 seconds, 50 seconds. For those final runs across. Which suggests I have a variance on the order of 1 second, and those two sets of results definitely are not enough to say that there is a difference between. It's not enough to rule a difference out, but it certainly says that difference if it exists, is pretty darn small. It could be there. And especially over very, very long runs, that could build up to a few seconds. And even if the difference isn't there, it could be that for whatever reason, the change in consistency going sideways, maybe that gives you a better view of your character, so it lets you time slightly better when you do your double jumps. Like, that's another thing that could be happening. Could be any effects like that. But I would say that, yeah, in day-to-day life, the speed up is pretty minuscule, and I hope people found this, like, fairly rigorous. I hope people were happy that I'm not just trying to fudge the data and I'm trying to give this a fair shout and everything. Because again, I want this to be the case. I keep stating this, but I would really, really love it if this were the case, but it just doesn't seem to be. Anyway, with that said, thank you all very much for watching. I've been IntravelU, and yeah, I will see you around. Bye!